December 2023, Madison Square Garden. Kiss plays the final night of their end-of-the-road farewell tour. And mid-encore, the human beings walk off stage. Digital avatars take their places. Paul Stanley's voice came through the speakers. The new Kiss era starts now. That was also their second farewell tour. 10 bands, 10 goodbyes. Here's exactly how every single one of them went. Number 10, The Who. The Who played their farewell tour in the fall of 1982. 3 months of North American stadiums, The Clash opening most nights. A live album already waiting to be titled. They called it Who's Last. And on December 17th, at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, that was supposed to be the last chord in The Who's career. Here's what you need to understand about that 1982 tour. Pete Townshend wasn't doing a bit. He was in real trouble. Cocaine, heroin, serious drinking. The road had been destroying him in increments since Keith Moon died in 1978. Roger Daltrey had pushed Pete back out there after Moon passed, and the result was bad. Daltrey told Rolling Stone, after 3 tours of America, he was a bloody junkie. I felt responsible for that. It was really hard to live with, so they stopped. Not for leverage, not for marketing, because Pete Townshend was in genuine danger. That's what the 1982 farewell actually was. Then Live Aid happened. 1985. Roger and Pete at Wembley, on stage together, just once, they said. In 1988, they showed up at the Brit Awards to accept a Lifetime Achievement Award. Together, on stage, playing. And then, in 1989, there was a press conference for a Who reunion tour. A reporter asked, "Didn't you already do your farewell?" Pete Townshend looked at the room and said, completely straight-faced, no apology, no wink, "We did our farewell tour, just that, no explanation." We did our farewell tour, as though the question answered itself. The Who have since played hundreds more shows. In 2025, they announced another round of North American farewell shows, thanking fans for 57 years of loyalty. That's 43 years after the first farewell. And if you were at one of those 1982 stadium shows, if you were standing in that crowd watching Townshend play like every note mattered, you know that night was real. He meant it. Meaning it, it turned out, was not enough. Number 9, Deep Purple. In 2017, Deep Purple launched the Long Goodbye Tour. 10 legs across Europe, North America, South America, and Asia. $170 shows over 2.5 years. And the name itself was a signal, right? A long goodbye suggests you're going, at some point. The long goodbye. There was real weight to the name. Drummer Ian Pace had suffered a minor stroke in 2016 that affected his right hand. Guitarist Steve Morse said on record that for him personally, it was a farewell tour. People took the thing seriously. And then in 2024, vocalist Ian Gillan sat down with Eddie Trunk on Sirius XM and explained where the name actually came from. And here is the gist of what he said. The promoters needed to sell tickets, and the classic way to sell tickets is to call it a farewell tour. So Gillan told them, call it a goodbye tour, but call it the long goodbye. Put the emphasis on the word long, make it an enigmatic phrase that could mean anything. That was the plan. He said this plainly, on air, with his name attached. Here's why he could afford to say it in 2024. The Whoosh Tour had already happened in 2022 and 2023. There was a new album, and per Gillan's own words, Deep Purple was booked through the end of 2026. Steve Morse did ultimately leave in 2022, genuinely, for family health reasons. Guitarist Simon McBride stepped in and they kept recording and touring. They're now on the One More Time tour. That name, do with it what you will. Here's what I think is true about Deep Purple. They love playing. Gillan knows it, Pice knows it, and as long as that's true, goodbye is always going to be the wrong word. The most honest thing Gillan ever did for this band was admit the farewell framing was a joke, because the truth was always simpler. They just couldn't find a way to stop.
Let's look at the numbers. Only 9% of you are actually subscribed. Honestly, that's tough to see. Our team spends days hunting down archives and verifying every single fact just to tell these stories right. If you've made it this far into the video, you're clearly part of the community, so please hit subscribe. It costs nothing and helps us immensely. Now, for those already subscribed, very few of you have made the jump to our membership, and that's a hard pill to swallow because you're the ones who know our value best. If this channel has moved you or inspired you, consider joining. It's the price of one coffee, but it's the literal fuel for this channel. Let's keep this alive together. Back to the story.
Number 8, Scorpions. The Scorpions didn't hint at retirement in 2010. They announced it. Sting in the Tail was the album, their 17th, and the tour supporting it was presented as a genuine, proper farewell. 5 decades of rock you like a hurricane. Time to go out with dignity, playing for the fans one final time, so they went out on a farewell tour. Over 200 shows, and it ran for years. Stay with me on this one, because the Scorpions didn't wait until the tour ended to change their minds. They changed their minds during the tour, still on the road, still technically on the farewell, and singer Klaus Meine started talking in interviews about how the closer they got to the supposed end, the clearer it became they hadn't reached any end at all. The closer we got, he said, the stronger the feeling was that we hadn't come to the end at all. There were so many images in our minds and so many emotions in our hearts. Guitarist Matthias Jabs was asked later about naming it a farewell tour. His word, not mine. He called it stupid. That's the word he used about his own band's retirement announcement, while that retirement was technically still occurring. They released Return to Forever in 2015, Crazy World in 2017, Rock Believer in 2022. They did a Las Vegas residency, and Klaus Meine later made a point of saying it directly. No more farewell tours. They'd learned. They'll just keep playing without attaching a ceremony to it. And here's the part that always gets me about this story. Jabs said, "It's getting a bit ridiculous when you say you're retiring and don't do it, so we won't do it again." Which is not an apology, it's not embarrassment, It's just a practical decision to stop naming something that doesn't fit what's actually happening. If you were at a Scorpions show during that farewell era, knowing somewhere in the back of your mind it probably wasn't over, drop it in the comments. You were right. Number 7, Judas Priest. December 2010, Judas Priest announced the Epitaph World Tour as their farewell. After nearly 40 years, they were going out the right way. 120 shows, 5 continents, the full send-off this band deserved. Rob Halford stood up and said, "Don't be sad about this. Start celebrating, start rejoicing." Then, roughly 2 months before the first show, founding guitarist KK Downing quit. Not retired, not took a break, quit. Cited an ongoing breakdown in working relationships. The tour was 6 weeks away. They found a 31-year-old British guitarist named Richie Faulkner, who'd been in Lauren Harris's band, and he learned the entire set in approximately 2 weeks and walked out in front of a Judas Priest audience. During the tour, Rob Halford was riding a motorcycle across the stage at a show in Brazil. He fell hard, got up, kept playing. And somewhere in the middle of all of this, the band clarified publicly, and I'm quoting here, that the Epitaph tour was by no means the end of the band. By no means the end of the band. On the farewell tour, 2014, Redeemer of Souls, new album, new tour. "2018 Firepower, widely considered one of the best records of their career. Glenn Tipton, who has Parkinson's, stepped back from touring but recorded the album. He walked out as a surprise at certain shows. Crowds lost their minds. 2024, Invincible Shield. 2025, The Shield of Pain Tour, co-headlining with Alice Cooper. 2026, The Faith Keepers Tour already announced. That's 4 studio albums and multiple world tours in the 14 years since the farewell. The metal gods are still going. If you were at an Epitaph show in 2011 or 2012 and thought you were watching the last chapter, what would you say now? I genuinely want to know. Leave it in the comments. Number 6, Eagles. July 31st, 1980, Long Beach, California, backstage at an Eagles show. Guitarist Don Felder and Glenn Frey had a confrontation that came close to physical. The Eagles had been tearing themselves apart for years. Money, creative control, personalities that couldn't stay in the same room long enough to agree on anything. The Long Beach show finished. Chambers gathered for the feast. The tour ended. The band ended. When reporters asked Don Henley about a reunion, he gave an answer that became one of the most famous lines in rock: "When hell freezes over." It froze in 1994. A country tribute album came out in 1993. Travis Tritt covered Take It Easy and wanted the real Eagles in the video. That got them into the same room for the first time in years. Something shifted. Management worked the phones. And in April 1994, at a film studio in Burbank, California, they set up cameras for an MTV special. The album was called Hell Freezes Over, named after the quote. And Glenn Frey opened the concert with, "For the record, we never broke up. We just took a 14-year vacation." That's one way to tell it. The Hell Freezes Over tour ran from 1994 to 1996. 160 shows, box office records at nearly every stop. The Acoustic Hotel California from that tour, with a new Spanish guitar intro, 8 minutes, every person in the building completely quiet, became the version people still argue about.
And she showed me the way.
Definitive, some say, depending on who you are, whether Henley's version, We Broke Up, or Frey's version, 14-Year Vacation, is the honest one. I'll let you decide.
Those voices are calling from far away.
One of them is built around the weight of what actually happened. The other one is built around making it feel okay. You probably know which is which.
Relax, said the nightman. We are programmed.
Glenn Frey passed away in January 2016. The Eagles continued with his son Deacon and Vince Gill on guitar. Some endings arrive on a schedule nobody agreed to. Number 5, Aerosmith.
Every moment spent with you is a moment.
Peace Out, the Farewell Tour, September 2nd, 2023. First show, Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia.
Lying close to you.
Original lineup, Steven Tyler, Joe Perry, Tom Hamilton, Brad Whitford, Joey Kramer. Out There after 50-some years of Dream On and Walk This Way and everything in between.
I don't wanna miss one smile.
By all accounts, it was a great show, and so was the second one.
Don't wanna close my eyes. Don't wanna.
The third show, UBS Arena, Long Island, September 9th.
The sweetest dream will never do, but I still miss you.
During the performance, something goes wrong with Tyler's voice. He pushes through. He finishes. He's Steven Tyler. He pushes through.
Don't wanna close my eyes.
11 days later, he posts on Instagram. He fractured his larynx. Not vocal strain, not nodes. A fractured larynx from singing.
In this moment forever, forever and ever.
Doctors ordered 30 days of silence, minimum. The band postponed some dates. Then a second examination. Worse than they thought.
All the rest of time.
The fractured larynx, combined with damage to the vocal cords. All remaining 2023 dates postponed indefinitely. Rescheduled for fall 2024. Rescheduled again.
And I treasure.
And on August 2nd, 2024, Aerosmith released a statement that said, "Sadly, it is clear that a full recovery from his vocal injury is not possible. We have made a heartbreaking and difficult, but necessary decision, as a band of brothers, to retire from the touring stage."
Oh, sweet, 'cause I miss you, babe, and I don't wanna
3 shows. The Peace Out Farewell Tour played 3 shows before it was permanently canceled by circumstance.
miss this moment forever.
Here's what makes Aerosmith different from every other band on this list. Every other entry ends with a choice.
And I don't wanna miss a thing, 'cause even when I dream.
Someone who said goodbye and then decided to come back. Aerosmith is the only band here who tried to say a proper goodbye and couldn't finish the sentence.
Don't wanna fall asleep, 'cause I miss you, baby. And I
The real ending came for the tour before the tour could come for them. Their final statement closed with, "Play our music loud, now and always. Dream on, you've made our dreams come true." That one doesn't have a punchline, and it's not supposed to.
if it's me, you'll see it. Then I kiss your eyes.
Number 4, Black Sabbath. In 2015, Black Sabbath called it The End. Not a long goodbye, not an epitaph, just The End. Tony Iommi had been diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2012. Ozzy's health was its own complicated story. The End Tour ran 81 shows across 2016 and 2017, finishing February 4th in Birmingham, England, the city where it all started. They filmed the final show. The concert film was called The End of the End. If that doesn't sound like an ending, I don't know what does. Then, February 2025, Sharon Osbourne and Tony Iommi at a press conference at Villa Park, Birmingham. One more show, July 5th, 2025. And the announcement that made people stop what they were doing, the original four-piece, Ozzy, Tony, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward, performing together for the first time since 2005, 20 years. All four in the same city where they'd started the whole thing in 1968. Metallica was there, Slayer, Pantera, Tool, Guns N' Roses, Alice in Chains, Gojira, Tom Morello as musical director. Lars Ulrich called it Heavy Metal Summer Camp. $45,000 people at Villa Park, a charity show, all proceeds to cure Parkinson's and Birmingham Children's Hospital. Ozzy performed from a throne, a black chair with a bat on top, because Parkinson's had made standing for long stretches difficult. And he sang War Pigs, Iron Man, NIB, Paranoid, with the men who'd been in that room in 1968, when this kind of music didn't have a name yet. He told the crowd, "Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love you. We love you." "17 days later, July 22nd, 2025, Ozzy Osbourne passed away at his home in Buckinghamshire. He was 76 years old. The end tour wasn't the end, but the universe found its own timing. Number 3, Ozzy Osbourne.
It hurts so bad, it's been so long.
1992. Ozzy Osbourne had been given a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis, which turned out later to be incorrect. Believing he was ill, he made a decision to step away from the road. The No More Tours tour, 64 shows across North American arenas, June through November. The final night was November 15th, 1992, at the Pacific Amphitheater in Costa Mesa, California.
Mama, I'm coming home.
Black Sabbath opened the show, with Rob Halford filling in for Ronnie James Dio, and at the end, Ozzy came back out on stage with them for a few songs. He hugged Tony Iommi. He walked off, and almost immediately, he had second thoughts. He talked about it later, directly. "I retired when I was about 43 or something, and then 5 minutes after I retired, I was like, why the hell did I retire from this? What else am I supposed to do? Knit?" 3 years later, the Retirement Sucks Tour. He named it that, not as a joke at someone else's expense, as an honest description of how the time off had actually felt. And then Ozfest launched in 1997, and Ozzy kept going. Solo albums, solo tours, Black Sabbath reunions, decade after decade. If you've ever heard Crazy Train or Mr. Crowley blasting from a car in any era from the 1980s through the 2010s, you know Ozzy Osbourne never really left the road for long. 2018, No More Tours 2. He knew what he was doing with that name.
Mama, I'm coming home.
He was naming the sequel to the tour he'd already broken. The self-aware joke that was also meant sincerely. This one, he said, would hold.
I've seen your face 100 times.
A fall at home in late 2018, multiple spinal surgeries, Parkinson's disease, which he had actually been diagnosed with in 2003, 16 years before he told anyone publicly. In January 2020, he went on television and said it plainly. The remaining dates on No More Tours 2 were postponed, rescheduled, and ultimately canceled in 2023.
It hurts so bad, it's been so long.
His last performance, July 5, 2025, at Villa Park in Birmingham. He sat in a throne and he sang. "17 days later, he was gone. Here's what stays with me. He called his 1992 farewell, No More Tours. He called his 2018 farewell, No More Tours too. He was always winking at the joke, always acknowledging that the goodbye might not hold. And maybe that was the most honest version of it, because when the real ending came, it came on its own terms. Nobody scheduled it. Nobody named a tour after it.
Selfish love, yeah, we're both alone.
Number 2, Mötley Crüe. January 28, 2014. A press conference in Los Angeles. Mötley Crüe's entire band arrived by hearse. They sat behind tombstones with their own names carved into them, and then their attorney stepped to the microphone and described something the music industry had never seen. The cessation of touring agreement, a legally binding document signed by all 4 members, Vince Neil, Nikki Sixx, Tommy Lee, and Mick Mars, stating that after December 31st, 2015, none of them could tour under the name Mötley Crüe. The attorney, Doug Mark, said, "There has never been such a thing, as far as I know." It's an agreement that binds the 4 of them to not utilize the trademark for touring in the future. First ever, in rock history. Nikki Sixx told Rolling Stone, "There is no amount of money that would ever make me do it again, because I have such pride in how we're ending it." The final tour ran through 2014 and 2015. 158 shows, Alice Cooper as the opening act, $86 million at the box office. December 31st, 2015, Staples Center, Los Angeles. The document said that was the end, and that was the end. November 2019. They posted a video. Machine Gun Kelly, who played Tommy Lee in the Netflix biopic The Dirt, narrated it. In the video, the 4 members of Mötley Crüe gathered around the cessation of touring agreement and lit it on fire. A legally binding contract, on camera, posted publicly. The stadium tour launched June 2022. Def Leppard and Poison on the bill. $173.5 million grossed. 1.3 million tickets. The most successful tour in any individual member's career. More money than the final tour the contract had been written to close out. Some fans felt sold out. Others said these were always the guys who broke every rule, so breaking this one was completely on brand. You probably already know which side you're on. And if you're still deciding, the answer's usually right there once you ask yourself honestly what you would have done with that kind of money and that kind of crowd. Number 1, Kiss.
In the darkness.
Kiss has had 2 farewell tours. That's where this has to start. The first was in 2000. Original lineup.
I wanna see it in your
Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Ace Frehley, Peter Criss, makeup, platform boots, fire breathing, the full thing, 142 shows. Paul Stanley later said the farewell tour was an attempt to put Kiss out of its misery after years of behind-the-scenes chaos and a studio album where the 4 of them could barely agree on what room to be in. During the tour, Peter Criss added a teardrop to his cat face paint to protest a salary dispute. At the final North Charleston show in October 2000, Chris kicked his entire drum kit off the riser on stage.
I wanna lay it at your feet.
Eric Singer stepped into the Catman role for Japan and Australia. Ace Frehley played his last show with Kiss on April 13, 2001, at Carrara Stadium in Gold Coast, Australia, and then Kiss kept touring. Tommy Thayer became the Spaceman. Eric Singer stayed the Catman. 2 of the original 4 were gone, but the makeup and the mythology, that stayed. Kiss went out on the road without the original lineup for 18 more years. 2019, the end of the Road World Tour. The real goodbye, they said this time. COVID stretched it into 2023. The final 2 nights, December 1st and 2nd, 2023, Madison Square Garden, 10 blocks from where the band played their first show in 1973, 50 years earlier. During the encore of December 2nd, Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Tommy Thayer, and Eric Singer walked off the stage. Digital avatars took their places. Built by Industrial Light and Magic, George Lucas's special effects company, the same outfit behind the biggest visual effects in film history, in partnership with Pop House Entertainment, the group behind ABBA's digital concert experience. The avatars launched into God Gave Rock and Roll to You, while Stanley's voice came through the speakers. Kiss Army, your love, your power, has made us immortal. The new Kiss era starts now. The CEO of Pop House said the avatars could perform in 3 cities on 3 continents in the same night. That Kiss would continue for decades to come. That the technology ensured their immortalization. They didn't say goodbye. They made saying goodbye structurally impossible. And I genuinely don't know whether that's the most rock and roll move I've ever heard, or the strangest rebranding of a farewell in the history of the music industry. Maybe it's the same thing. With Kiss, it probably was always the same thing.